Okay, so we have the Iron Bracket Losers Bracket Round 1. BOUT2PUKE versus Dan. Looks like these players are going to be using the more simplistic forms. And as you can see here, Dan has some pretty strong stairs so far. If he gets the code with purples, he'll be pretty set. He does have to worry about the transition though. But BOUT2PUKE seems to want to stop him from actually getting too comfortable with the stairs. Okay, so he's starting off with getting the purples he needs for that. Device not to use the purples for the transition over there in column 1, unless he wants to set off that way. Nope. Okay, so he just decided to separate the chain, I guess. Gets a 5 chain in the process, and Mr. BOUT2PUKE here is probably not doing the hottest there. Put himself at a pretty early disadvantage, but they are at the top and decide to top out. Okay. Probably important to know that if you're gonna go for like stairs or anything like that, kind of learn from like crowd. Like they have like their stairs ready on lock and then they do the transition. But I'm curious as to why Dan is going to just make his middle spot there more taller than rest. But he did get the all clear power off to neutralize it, so that is good. Now it's a little bit of the freestyle from both players here, not knowing what much to do. A good 3 chain from Dan. Bound to stop BOUT2PUKE though. But BOUT2PUKE does still have like a chain incoming. I believe a 4 or 5. Looks to be a 4 according to the chain detector here. As long as he doesn't mess up the purple switches, which he didn't. That 3 chain from Dan is not going to be strong, quite as strong, but not detrimental enough to where he's out of it yet. So still have some work to do there for Dan. BOUT2PUKE in a favorably and arguably a little bit of a better position here because he does get a 3 chain here, and if Dan was just a little bit faster, probably could have gotten the blues out to kind of defend himself there. But BOUT2PUKE will gladly take another point to his counter over here as Dan tops out, tying the game up for both players in a 1v1. Oh, and I just want to mention that this match was actually sent to me via the replay system in PPT2, so if you're wondering why I'm here instead of S2, that's why, because S2 did record it. Well, he didn't record it, but he streamed the bronze bracket, so that's why I'm in some. That's why I'm in this one, and then he's going to be in the majority of those. Kind of a missed opportunity for a cushion transition over there for BOUT2PUKE. I could have seen the blues and the green in column 1, and then could have been a more grander transition there, but not a lot of the player base kind of like thinks outside the bikes like that, especially at this level, so not really going to fault them for it. I will credit the 8 chain that he did manage to get, however. But yeah, that cushion transition from BOUT2PUKE probably would have been a grand sight to see, especially in like bronze bracket of all things. That's more of like a higher bracket play if I had to make an educated guess. Unfortunate situation for Dan right now as he did top out and giving BOUT2PUKE another point on the board. Now this is the first to 7 still, so Dan still has some time to come back here. Still sticking to his tried and true stairs. Not a bad strategy, but also probably won't do too much against BOUT2PUKE here, who has a pretty decently clean GTR right now. Not the cleanest in the world, but it's favorably more arguably better than like what we've seen thus far in like the lower brackets. Improper use of the pop though, only giving himself a 2 rather than like a potential 7 though, giving Dan the opportunity to tie it up back to 2 and 2. Good work for Dan for catching that. And back to the traditional beginners patterns, or rather, a traditional beginners pattern versus stairs, or sorry, GTR, which is not really a form, it's more of a transition, but I think I've said that a lot during my comms, so I apologize for that. BOUT2PUKE seems to be in a really good position right there. Probably hoping to get a little bit more out of the transition there. Successfully gets the transition there. His purples are going to power, but they should overpower Dan here, giving him a clean 8 chain. Some mess to work with, but didn't have to worry about it as Dan probably early topped himself out there. Another all clear start from both players though, so ready to see what these do. A little bit of hesitation from Dan, however. Probably again once again main chains instead of just stacking to the side. Probably not a good idea, and we are seeing why as BOUT2PUKE eats a whole all clear start. But he does still have the power to reverse it into Dan's face here, as he just did. So not the worst spot, but okay. Might have been a misdrop there from BOUT2PUKE. Probably didn't realize he was that close to the X, or meant to put it more to the right. But regardless, that's going to be a 3-3 for both players. Keeping it very even in bronze bracket, I would say. So, shoutouts to probably myself for making sure that brackets weren't like super messed up. And shoutouts to that team, to my team as well. Couldn't be here without you guys. Bring more Puyo to the players who are afraid to play and all that. Nice 5 chain from Dan, by the way, as I was on that prerogative. Dan probably being a little bit cheeky there with the T-back. That wasn't T-back, I promise. He was probably just trying to rotate. But guys, that's a 3-4 in Dan's favor. BOUT2PUKE does have some ground to cover here, but not a whole lot. I'm still going with the GTR here, and Dan's still going with his tried and true method of stairs. Admirable choice from him. Let's see how it plays out for him, however. Okay, nice little poke there from BOUT2PUKE. The greens don't seem to want to touch each other there on Dan's board. And I was wrong, of course. But unfortunately, BOUT2PUKE did get a little bit of a advantage there by just transitioning there and giving himself another chance to tie this. So really even games from both players. Potentially a missed alt. Okay, not a missed alt there, because the 4th color was introduced instead of the normal color. So both players have nothing to worry about getting a sneaky alt clear, unless one of them cleverly chains it, though. Okay. Nice response from Dan, just bringing it all back to BOUT2PUKE's face. Unfortunately for Dan, BOUT2PUKE did get a little bit lucky here and was able to manage to get a power 5 out of all of that. So it was a good move for Dan, but of course fate literally just said no. But a really good attack from Dan nonetheless. BOUT2PUKE just got a little bit lucky there for his liking, which is once again we don't. Props to him though. I wonder how he's gonna work the yellows on that chain. Okay. So, kind of like a really weird, unoptimized submarine chain here. Still cool to look at nonetheless, but Dan seems to be having trouble with building his gears with the color conflicts. Probably didn't see that he could just continue building flat. But this will be match point for BOUT2PUKE here. Dan Kid still has the potential to come back, however, so down but not out, as I've always liked to say in these. The game's not exactly over until you touch the X. Unfortunate misdrop from BOUT2PUKE here, though, but does have the perfect colors to actually fix that. And Dan does have the means to fix his chain here, or launch it rather. Okay, sending a return to Cinder back to BOUT2PUKE here, but of course Dan needs to find a way to close this out here if he wants to stay in this. Just have some greens to see, but opts to not use them. But opts for a power 3 instead. Probably a smart decision for Dan, as BOUT2PUKE does not have a lot of resources to go off of. This is almost match point for both players. If Dan can just get 2 more wins out of his sleeves here, then we could be seeing a reverse 0-0. Unfortunate for BOUT2PUKE there. Actually could have saved it if he actually. Okay, never mind. He figured it out. So both of them does have the all clear start here. So it's gonna be a matter of who cracks first. Both of them opts for a 2 chain, but still carrying on for both players here. A little bit of weird decisions from Dan here to continue with the stairs like that. Wasting his column 6, but BOUT2PUKE capitalizing on that mistake and giving him what's for here. Things aren't looking super hot for Dan right now, as BOUT2PUKE is about to launch another 3 chain, putting Dan at a more disadvantage here, but Dan can still dig his way down. It is technically possible. However, BOUT2PUKE does not want that to happen. He wants to keep this bracket run going here, more than just one round here, opting to make it far into this bracket, it seems. And a Power 2 will close this set out as BOUT2PUKE seals his... Oh, nope, not yet. Dan's still in this. He just needs to be a little bit more faster here. And if unlucky from the game. Game literally said, no, that's it, you're done. So that will end Dan's run in the bronze bracket, but good games to him and BOUT2PUKE for good fortune for the upcoming brackets, or the upcoming matches of this bracket.